is to assess the needs and what best we can do as a Rotary Club. Now, the reality is we live in Hurricane Alley. We have to accept that. We've been blessed many years where they've gone this way or that way, but we all know that at any given time, we could be in the heart of the target. And so what we're asking in the Rotary clubs is to get a disaster plan together so that the club can respond as the Rotary Club to the community. And please make it known to the community what you are going to do as Rotarians to help your fellow man. We want to make sure that our members are kept safe, and this information then needs to be shared with the district, who your chair is going to be. You want to put into the DACB databases the committee members. And this is not just you, it's the whole district. It's all the clubs are willing to come and help in any way that they could to do it. So Lakewood Ranch put together a template of what they thought would be wise. And I'd like to just share that with you, and then have some questions and what you may want to ask or anything else. The disaster committee is to be comprised of just 2 people. That's it. We don't need 20 people on a committee to do this. The disaster committee then will identify all the members of their club, and then will assign 2 or 3 members to each club member as a contact person. Now, we realize that in Rotary, we also have a lot of elderly members that can't really physically get involved. But what they can do is they can call. They can be contact people. They can use the telephone, and they can make contacts, vital contacts that are necessary. And a complete list of current information will be on DACB. And then the committee will then organize what has to be done in that community. Again, it can go from the very simplistic thing of you as the Rotary Club of Englewood just deciding to make a monetary donation, either to a specific Rotary project that might be going on, or to a recognized first responder agency that you would like to designate for your funds to be used by. Or it could be a hands-on project that you decide to help. All of us have friends and Rotarian members, many of them who might be homebound, who might need groceries, who might just need help. And as a Rotary Club, you can do that. You can organize and say, look, Joe is at home with his wife, they're invalids, they need groceries, we need to get together and see that they're being provided during this time. So the Rotary Club can take a wide range. But again, we want to emphasize that Rotary is not getting into the disaster business. That's not our purpose, it's not who we are, but we are a supporter, a responder in support to our communities. And that's what we want to establish. And it was after the Naples situation that Governor Rich felt that we needed to do something as a district because everybody was doing their own thing in their own part of the world, and that we would have some kind of an organized event to help in this crisis. So that's basically where we are now with the disaster committee. You all know disasters range from the simple to the horrific, and I've certainly experienced that in my life. This present disaster that we're in is not just affecting us here, it's affecting the whole nation, the whole world. And Rotary clubs around the whole world are involved. And everybody's struggling to help everybody during this time. On top of it, in America, we not only have that, but then we also have all the unrest that's going on. And many Rotarians may be affected by that in their businesses and so forth as well. So this is a unique time. And so we're asking you as a club to think about what you'd like to do. It's only 2 of your members who would like to take involvement in that. The district will send you the information that you need to organize and what you need to have together. And then in time of a disaster or in time of a problem, you would then call together and begin to do what you want to do as the Rotary Club. One thing we want to emphasize, though, is that we want you to make sure you listen. Rotary has a wonderful thing of helping people all over the place, and nobody knows about it. So we want to make sure that Rotary is recognized and it's out there helping doing what needs to be done. And it doesn't hurt to blow your own horn. It's all right. And you need to let people know what you're going to be doing. Secondly, remember, we're not a disaster organization. We're there to be helpful and supportive. And thirdly, every one of us are helping and are responsible for our fellow human beings. And that's where it's more important that we do what we need to do. And so with that in mind, I'd be happy to open it up to some questions if you have questions or you want to ask anything. I'd be happy to ask you. I'd be happy to talk about things that I've been involved in. But, you know, you're welcome to ask if you have any questions at this point.
Okay. Grace, you can unmute anybody on Zoom if they want to ask anything. I'll start. And so is the Salvation Army somewhat of a partnership then with Rotary in this aspect of these committees?
Well, yeah, but I want to make sure that we're careful because there are many members, but you also have Red Cross executives who are members.
Right.
You may have other areas that are members. So we're partners. And I always say when people ask me that, I say it's up to the individual organization to see what you want to do. Obviously, nationally, the Salvation Army, the American Red Cross, Baptist Fellowship, these are national recognized disaster relief agencies by the federal government. And they are trained in FEMA. We're all trained by FEMA. We all have to have certification. And that was one of the things when I brought to the committee, I said, look, it's all good and well for us to want to get involved in disaster, but you just don't show up and say, here I am. You've got to have certain qualifications. You can't walk into a flood. You can't walk into a tornado or a hurricane that's devastated blocks and blocks of houses and people are laying in the street dead and say, here I am, the Rotary Club, we're here to help. You've got to be trained. You've got to have certain FEMA certifications. And Rotary would have to go through that if they wanted to do that. But where Rotary becomes important is it funding, or it becomes important in perhaps taking on a project to help rebuild maybe a neighborhood or help rebuild a business or help a fellow Rotarian that's in crisis. That you can do, and you don't have to be trained for that. So that's basically where that stands.
And I'm sure you're aware of the disaster trailer that they're trying to push through the grant at this point.
I am.
Now, how would that come into play, or will it come into play?
Well,
two separate?
Unfortunately, that never came before our committee.
Okay.
And I want to be careful because I don't want to poo-poo this idea because it happens to be the project of the home club of the present governor.
Yeah.
And he knows my feelings. I've made it very clear. I'm concerned. I think it's a great idea, but I don't think that anybody really gave it the serious thought that it needs to be. First of all, these three trailers that they're talking about, who's going to insure them? That's number one. You can't just have insurance on the trailers. You've got to have liability insurance as well, if anybody gets hurt. Then number two, I said to Governor Darrell, who's going to insure the people that tow them? Because your car insurance may not cover that. You know, you're going to tow a van, somebody else's van. If that's not on your insurance and you have an accident, you're held responsible. And you're going to have a trailer hitch to move those things. So those have to be discussed. This has to be looked at. Second of all, in order to be involved in a disaster, FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, requires certification by the people who work. You just can't serve food unless you're certified. You just can't give out health unless you're certified. You can't just go in and be a chaplain, even if you're a minister or a priest, unless you're certified. It's a long, complex thing, and that has to be done. Well, then the answer came back, oh, no, it's not our intention to do that. We're just going to have rakes and shovels and help people, you know, afterwards. Well, that's all well and good, but you still have to take in all the other aspects of this to put it in. So at this point, it has to go before the district giving committee. It's one project, and whether it gets funded or not, I don't know. But that's, you know, and I'm not bad mouthing, and I think it's a great idea, but I think this needs to be more studied. And you know, and I'm always careful, and please, I want to make this clear. Sometimes we have people who are do-gooders, And they're wonderful people. They have great ideas and they're really dedicated, but they haven't been in this business. And they haven't thought out all the ramifications that have to go with it. And what they're proposing is great, but you're going to need 3 vehicles to transport these things. You're going to need people to man them. You just can't take them up and say, well, here you are. People are going to have to be providing hours and hours of time. And then you also got the liabilities that fall involved with that. Somebody in the shower that talked about having showers. Why don't you someone falls, slips? Rotary is up for a lawsuit. So that needs to be considered. And I'm not by any means poo-pooing this idea. I want that understood. I don't want anybody to say, oh, we had the Salvation Army and it was no.
No.
I just think it needs more study.
Well, we've had some conversation about whether or not, whether maintenance was considered over the long period of time and things like that.
And stocking supplies.
Yep.
I'm going to just give you the Army, and I shared this with Darryl. In the Naples disaster, the hurricane that hit Naples area, the Salvation Army spent almost $1 million clean up supplies. Now, we have a wonderful partnership with Walmart and with Target and with Budweiser, believe it or not, of all things, but they bring water.
Right.
They bring tremendous amounts of water into us. I always laughed about that, having these Budweiser trucks pull up to the Salvation Army. But they're a great partner, providing gallons and gallons and gallons of water that we need. Now, Rotary doesn't have those partnerships. And so that needs to be, that's all part of what has to be. And if you're going to have to stock these vans, can your Rotary Club afford them? I mean, it's wonderful to say, here, Englewood, here's 3 vans. Now it's yours. Are you prepared for all the cost of stocking those vehicles? It's just food for thought.
Yep. Anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah, was that light or regular water?
I don't know. It might be decaffeinated. But, I remember the first time that happened to me in a disaster, and I saw this Budweiser pull up. One of my friends, I said, what in heaven's name is Budweiser pulling up in front of the Salvation Army for? And my friend said, well, maybe they're delivering beer to us. I said, well, this is going to be interesting. But they're a tremendous partner in water. And I mean millions and millions of gallons of water that they bring in. It's just wonderful. And then you've got Procter & Gamble, who has a whole semi of laundry facilities that they bring in. So people can wash their clothes. You also have another agency that has a whole tractor trailer of showers that they come in. The Salvation Army here in Florida, and as well as other parts of the country, but here in Florida, we have 2 mobile dining rooms, semi-tractor trailers, where people can come in and sit and have a meal. So that's it. So my question was, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to say what we're going to do to help people.
Now, are you searching for people to assist and be on Salvation Army's committee or the district committee still? Or
The district committee was picked by the governor.
Okay.
What we're asking the club to do is to have its own disaster committee as part of your club structure, and just have a working portfolio of who's who, what's what, where they are, and what they can do in time of an emergency, and go from there. But as I will say to you, if you're interested, the national agencies are always looking for help. And of course, you'd have to be trained, but they're always looking for people to come and be food preparators or whatever. But all of that has to go through.
I know there was a group of our club Rotarians that were talking about in the Charlotte County certification cert program.
Yeah.
But I know that was another
Well,
option.
the county offers those, all the counties offer those, and they're FEMA certified.
Okay.
And what that means is once you take the certification, then you're certified. I had a very interesting experience when I was in Providence, Rhode Island. I was there for 9 years. After 9/11, there was a deep concern because Providence is the headquarters of the Naval College, the U.S. Navy. And so there was, and it's also right outside of New London, as you know, is the submarine headquarters. So there was a great concern about chemical warfare. So I get this letter that tells me I've got to go to a 2-week seminar that's being sponsored by the University of Texas. It was in Rhode Island, where I would get a certification to be certified to be handling in case there was a chemical warfare. I would be certified to go in as a chaplain or whatever. But I had to take that 2-week course. I got the certificate from the University of Texas. That was required. Thank God I never had to use it. But those are the requirements. You've got to be trained in order to go in and do these things. You just can't walk in. You're right.
Anybody else? Anybody on Zoom? Any questions on Zoom?
Well, I want to thank you for inviting me. I enjoyed coming here. What I said, I just enjoyed getting out of the house today and taking a lovely ride down here.
Well,
So thank you ever so much.
we appreciate you coming, and we'll be making a donation in your name to Polio Plus, because that's one of the
good.
Rotary initiatives, and we will send you that certificate via email instead of transferring a lot of documents and whatever, trying to be safe right now.
Thank you. Thank
So
you ever so
very
much.
much.
I'm going to
Glad
feed
to
my
have you.
lunch if that's all right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the committee that he speaks of and that we're talking about, this is why this came out at the beginning of the year. As the district asked us to put this out to every one of our members and have you complete it and send it back. I do have a stack of them that were completed. It was sent out in the emails and whatnot, and we will recycle it, but I do have copies here as well. So if you didn't do that and want to do that, and then we'll start to create our database. We'll be talking about who wants to be those key people on that committee at the board meeting. And if you're interested, please let me know. And if you can't attend the board meeting, just let me know and we'll get you involved in the conversation on that. So we do have some celebrations, some birthdays and some anniversaries. And I believe the first one is Marie Naseby. She has a birthday coming up tomorrow. Tracy's at the end of the month on the 28th. And then we have Brownie Schoenbauer. She has 27 years of service in Rotary in combination with her 2 clubs, not all here. And Don and Janet Landis at 10 years of service. So we wanted to congratulate them even though they're not here. And you might be seeing some of this stuff pop up on the Facebook and stuff like that too. So we just wanted to take a little bit of time to recognize all those people for all of that. As far as a care and concern, I did want to state that Julia had a little bit of an accident over the weekend with her SUP experience, and I'm not sure exactly what happened, but she ended up with some cuts on her feet. Chris came to her rescue. Thank you, Chris. But she is off her feet for a couple of weeks. Some of those cuts were pretty deep. She got into an oyster bed somehow. So she will not be attending for a little while, trying to heal those wounds. Let's see.
Hey, we have an engagement.
You have another slide. I'm sorry, Ken, go ahead.
We have an engagement to celebrate too.
Yes, we do. I was gonna let JJ announce that. He's not here. So many of you who saw on Facebook that JJ and Louise got engaged over the weekend. So we do have that celebration.
Yeah, they're
as well.
coming home. They're
Sorry.
going to be back later on today. So I'll let them know, and I'm sure
Okay.
he'll announce it to everybody. It's exciting news.
It is. It is. So congratulations to them. And I think you had one more. Yep. So this is kind of a new initiative that we put out as our club's Rotary Most Wanted. And in the past, we've done membership drives in different ways. And I just thought this was kind of a different twist on it. Instead of thinking about the people, about the classifications. So we put out a little blast on social media and whatnot. And if you provided, invite an attendee or provide information and they come to our meetings, then you'll get a little surprise. Won't be anything fantastic, but so we did Emma the educator. We do not have an educator per se in our current educator, I guess you should say. Rick the restaurateur, Donna the dentist, and Sparky the electrician. So those were a couple of classifications that we picked out this time. We'll come up with different ones periodically. And again, so if you know any of those people that fit that and, want to come and join or come take a look at what our club does, invite them to tag along or join us on Zoom even. All right. So we have the MLB baseball pool that we did, and I think it's all back there. Patrick, you want to grab it for me? So we do have a couple slots left. We are going to draw. So if anybody wants a last minute slot, just holler at me. I think we're at 4 or 5 left. But we're going to draw the team. So what we did is there were 30 slots for 30 teams. They're doing a fast track season this year. So we thought there might be a little way to have some fun and capitalize on that for the club, as we know we're kind of struggling with funding and fundraisers, and trying to do them a little bit on the smaller scale. So we did $50 buy-in. And over the period, it's going to be strictly based on the teams. It's not about your scores or anything like that. We'll send out the roster once we draw today, and then update you on, what's going on, just like Brenda does when she does the football pool. So we'll send out those emails. So you really don't have to do anything. You're just going to know if you win, you get a check. And then so remind you that all the teams that reach the playoffs.
There's typically 10, many as 12 teams. Those teams that make the playoffs. And the winner of the American League and the National and the team.
So you could consecutively win a couple
You
of
could win
different.
500
Right,
as a matter.
right. So anyways,
It's all random draw this year because nobody knows what the
Right.
season. Favorite.
right. And some of the players are going to be in and out and whatnot. So, it's just purely random. So if anybody that's in attendance today, either Zoom or in person, wants the last slot before we draw, any takers? No? All right. Find somebody to draw the balls. Christina, you want to do them? You want to do baseball?
Oakland.
We're going to go in order. The first phase will be for the Oakland Athletics.
Okay,
Oh, how many of these?
30. Yeah, I just off the spot.
Oh, I don't go, you're just gonna go, you're gonna go.
That's okay.
Yep, Miami Marlins goes to number 2.
Okay.
Once again, we're
How about
Yeah, if there's any spaces left, then the club gets that slot for any prizes next month.
That's correct.
Then your games.
the Yankees are number 3?
Julia gets that one.
Let's try that again.
Pittsburgh Pirates.
I can't draw.
Yes, you're up.
Sox. Red Sox. Waiting for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
The Mets.
Dirk Mets.
Okay.
What number are we at?
8.
attendance.
You can draw more than one at a time, so you're walking back further, you're trying to get your exercise.
The Minnesota Twins.
UBS, whatever that
Chicago
means.
Cubs.
Oh, we have missing the letter.
No, it's-
This is gigantic sea that surrounds all them.
Oh.
the next one is Washington.
Great.
Colorado Rockies.
All right.
Blue Jays. Pretty deep.
Yeah. I have to start picking too. Don't have to walk so far.
Seattle Mariners. Texas, oh no, Philadelphia Phillies.
I'm assuming these are the Red Sox.
Yes, it is.
Just got it right.
Oh, there's no name on them, but
Well, this was the team ball.
Yeah.
the Cardinals.
St. Louis Cardinals.
Dodgers.
LA Dodgers. California Angels.
Angels. I said I don't know them either, so.
That's why I'm giving you the first and second part. of it.
The Rays
Tampa Bay Rays.
Yay.
and the Orioles.
Oh.
Tigers. Winner, everyone.
Getting down to the end, closer anyway.
You said Astros? Texas Rangers.
Few more.
This one, no, just one. San Diego Padres.
Who the hell knows what that is?
Arizona. Diamondbacks. Cleveland Indians.
Oh, they'll
And
be
the
there
very
their
last
name.
one
I'll be there next week.
is the Milwaukee Brewers.
All right. Okay. So they've all been drawn. We will send out an email with an updated roster so everybody can read it and everybody can follow along. Those who don't follow baseball, like I said, that's fine. Just we'll let you know what's going on. That's his job. So. And I just kind of wanted to provide an opportunity, seeing we've had an extra few minutes. I know we're not really doing the happy and sad dollars right now, but if anybody had anything they wanted to share, or concern or anything like that, I mean, don't have to do the dollars, but anybody wants an opportunity, plug for your business.
I hope Julie is that on her
I do too.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Kidding. I know that she's swamped with the remainder of tax season as well. Okay, so I just want to thank Bob again for coming and speaking to us and sharing all that good information. That's good to know. And so I just wanted to put in a thought for the day, and that friendship was the foundation rock on which Rotary was built, and tolerance is the element which holds it together. I'll periodically throw in those messages throughout our programs here and there. But I thought that was also kind of fitting for today.
Hey, Deb, it's Brenda.
Yes.
Were you going to talk about our
Oh, that's
senior?
right. Yes. That is correct. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, so a couple of people emailed me in the last few weeks, and there's a couple of different programs out there that are doing a similar program to like a pen pal for the seniors that are in the nursing homes and assisted livings that are kind of shut in right now. So I've had some conversation back and forth with Brenda, shared these, and we're trying to come up with a method that we could do this locally. However, there are some HIPAA regulations and some things that we have to be conscious of. But what we wanted to talk about was, you know, what the interest level was. So if we kick something like that off, would you all support it and get involved in it? And basically, because they can't have contact and we can't visit, it would involve sending cards, letters, you know, those kinds of things that can be done kind of on your own time. And we would distribute them. Whether Brenda would try to figure out a way that we can do that, and, you know, following all those regulations. So if that's something that you all would be interested in supporting, let me know so that we can start working on that. We'll also talk about that at the board meeting as well. Go.
I'm raising my hand. The one thing, I mean, yeah, I just wanted to kind of give a little insight on it, because we do have people who are bringing cards and dropping them off, and they're very nice, but they're very generic. So what our thoughts were is more of being that true pen pal of, you know, writing back and forth, or maybe even Zooming, or, you know, something like that, and kind of kicking around. Our project name would be Make a Senior Friend. So it's not just throwing a card into the mail to, because the cards will come addressed to senior at Brookdale. It's like, yeah, no, you know, I mean, it's a nice thought, but it needs more personal. So that's why we wanted to see about getting the buy-in of who would be committed, because it would be a commitment. It's not just, you know, throwing a card in the mail of making a senior friend. So that's my take on it.
Would it be a two-way communication?
I would hopefully, yes, because what we could do is, I mean, speaking for our community alone, and we could roll it out to other ones too, but we would have our activity director, if they are not able to actually, you know, to write, or to, you know, have her participate to help them write back.
Great.
And Brenda just shared with me too, they have extended the shut-in or the stay-in order for them for another 60 days. So it's been a long time, a long road for a lot of those folks. I know I spoke with Esther about Mac, and she's really having a hard time with that, and so is he. You have a comment, Lynn?
Kids,
Right.
have somebody that will fit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not, but again, we have to find out about the rules and
I couldn't-
regulations of. Lynn's
Well-
asking if the kids could get involved.
Yeah, and if we have, here's my thought on this. It's like, yes, the kids could get involved. The kids, they would love that as well. As far as the HIPAA, my thought process is that as long as we have the commitment from the people from Rotary to do this, then I'm going to get with the families and have the family sign off of a form that it's fine for their parent, or if, you know, the senior that's here can sign themselves. We will have that written authorization to do this, so we won't have to be concerned about the HIPAA stuff.
Right, okay, okay. So we still have a little bit of work to try to put the pieces together, but really what we want to know right now is if what club members would be committed to doing this and support this. You know, as we know, there's a different passion for everybody in Rotary. There's a different path. So if it's not your thing, that's fine, but we just need to know if we have a group of people that are willing to commit to it, then we'll roll it out. So again, you know, Lynn says he's in, Chris is in, Tracy's in, Ken's in, Alfred. So I think we probably can come up with a good, you know, half dozen to dozen people that would commit to that, Brenda.
Okay.
Excuse me. I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you tell me again, what does it entail, writing a letter? Is it once a week? I'm sorry, I might have missed out a little bit on that. Just a brief rundown.
Well, it would be writing a letter, and that, I would say probably once a week. I mean, if you have a friend, you usually talk to them once a week,
Yep.
Kind of like the old pen
We're
pal.
losing you, Brenda.
Oh. Will you tell her then?
Cut in and out. Lisa, we're not specifically sure exactly what the commitment would be, but we're looking at, would it be a letter or a card specific to an individual, and it would be a repetitive thing. So whether it be once a week or every other week, but something, kind of as a conversation back and forth. And if they're able to, Brenda will look into, whether there's a Zoom option.
I love it. I definitely would be interested in that.
Okay. Perfect.
I know the Nadlers want to be involved as well.
I'm sorry, Trace.
The Nadlers, both the Nadlers would be involved.
Okay. So it looks like we're getting upwards to 10 or 12.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. So we'll work on putting together the details of that and how that would look. And we'll give you more information as that comes out. And thank you, Brenda, for reminding me. I'm sorry, it was on my list and I skipped right over it.
No problem. And my thought too is that when you guys sign up to do this, if you put in what your interests are, then I can try to match them with the interest of the resident here too.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, and that might set the stage as well. Now, I thought about this a while back, and now we're still a ways out from it. But at the point that we're able to go and do an in-person visit, I thought, well, we could make some home-baked cookies and, kind of go and visit them in person. So that group of people that's communicating with those folks, that would be a great, kind of pushing it forward type of a thing, whenever that is. And it may not be until next year, we don't know. But, it's just kind of a thought that kind of once we can get back in person, we can continue the program just a little different way. Yes, Trace?
I think we can even take it one step further. When we do our shoebox for seniors, it can be a little bit more personable if we've established a relationship with certain seniors.
That's true. Okay, awesome. Appreciate it, guys. With that said, I think we're kind of done. We covered most everything on my list. So you want to do the four-way test too? Lynn? You can read it.
The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First.
Is it true?
Second.
Fair to all concerned.
Third.
Will it build
Goodwill and better friendships.
To be beneficial to all concerned.
Concerned.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Drive down. Anything
Thank
that
you.
comes up, send me an email. Keep me in key with what you guys want to do. Have a great day.
I'm having great hopes for Tampa Bay this year.
Yeah.
Stay safe, everybody.
I remember when
You all as well. Bye, Zoomers.
Bye. Have a great day.
Thank you again.
Okay.
Have a great day. Thank you.
I've got the
Yes, thank you.
Can you scan that back to me? I just have it for record. Only because it